Ashley, and today I'm going to be sharing my postpartum essentials. I was stretching and I thought, well, I'll just pull out everything right now that I have it in a basket already, and I'll just go ahead and share with you what worked for me for my first pregnancy and what I am going to be using this time around as well. I'm currently 37 weeks pregnant, so let's get into the video so I can share with you all the things that I am using for postpartum. The first thing I want to share with you are these Depends. They have the Always brand, but I liked the Depends because it doesn't have like a scent to them. I could kind of smell the Always through the bag, and I didn't really like a strong scent. So my water actually broke, and instead of slipping on just a pad or something, it was so much water that I ended up just slipping on a Depend on the way to the hospital, and I pretty much kept it on until I started laboring at the hospital. And then afterwards, after giving birth, I had, they have like the long pads that you can put on, and they give you like the little net underwear, that like white, clearish, I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's just a, to put that long pad on, and then you can put that over, which they work at that time, like it worked right after giving birth. But I immediately, when I got to my postpartum room, I put on a Depend because it's just a lot more comfortable than having an underwear and putting on a long pad. I just stuck with the Depends, and then I actually used the Depends a few weeks afterwards. I want to say maybe not a few weeks, maybe about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, that I was using Depends every day instead of using underwear. And that was a big thing that helped me, because the underwear, I feel like, were just still uncomfortable for me. Even if I did have some that were like the grandma underwear, but I just did not find any comfort in those. I found that the Depends worked really well, and I just stuck with them. So first one is Depends for my essentials. And then going along with right after giving birth, they do provide you with like the Tux and with the spray, like the cooling numbing spray. But I really wanted to stay away from the whole chemical sprays and all that. And if you're using them, that's completely fine. This is just what worked for me. But I ended up taking the perineal herbal spray by Earth Mama, and I just found that it worked very, very well. It has actually a pretty decent scent, so I didn't really care, like it didn't matter that it had a scent or not. But it worked for me very, very well. It also helped, of course, they give you like a peri bottle, and you can either use just this regular peri bottle that they give you. This is actually the one that was given to me, and I just rinsed it out and kept it for this time. I'm sure they'll give me another one, but if not, I'm gonna take that with me. But the peri bottle, you can either get the Frida one that's like the upside down, but it really didn't matter to me. It worked the same way, it worked just fine, so I'm fine with using that. But I used the perineal spray and the peri bottle immediately after delivery when I got to the postpartum room, and I just found that the numbing and the warm water in the peri bottle worked really, really well, and I did not really have a lot of trouble peeing. It didn't, yes, it stung, but with the warm water and the perineal spray, I really feel like that helped a lot with my first urination after giving birth. Also, as soon as I got to the postpartum room and the baby was placed in the little bassinet that they have there, I did have my husband help me put on this postpartum girdle, and this is my third or fourth thing on my postpartum essential list. And this specific one, I liked that there's so many different girdles you can put on, and this specific one, the reason I liked it is because it comes in three different parts. So the first one here, and it tells you, let's see, it tells you here, this is the waist. So it tells you here, this is the waist. Let's see if I can get it to focus. This is the waist belt. So this is the one that goes at the very top here. So you put it like at the very top, and then after that, and it's easier if you're laying flat like on the bed. That's why I had my husband help me, because you're laying back and you put the waist one and then you put the belly one over that. and it just gave me so much support that I didn't feel like my intestines were hanging out everywhere. So I liked that feeling. And then afterwards, it comes also with the hip belts that you put at the very bottom. But this one on the paperwork, I can't find it now, but the paper that came with it, it did suggest to wait at least a week or two before you start using the one for your hips. So once I started to use it, I felt so much support from up here all the way down to my lower belly. So that is a big help that I had for my first postpartum healing. I didn't really know that, I didn't really feel like it was going to help. I wasn't sure, but after giving birth and after feeling everything that it was hanging out, that's what it felt like. That was a lifesaver, and I'm so glad that I bought it. So if you have not gone out to buy a girdle or purchased one just yet, I'll link it down below. I bought it off of Amazon and it worked just fine. Moving on to when you come home, the first few days, obviously you're healing, you're in, whether it's a lot of pain, whether you had 3-4 degree tear and you have stitches, even if you didn't get any stitches and you didn't tear, you're going to be very sore down there. So one thing that I did do for my first pregnancy that I did again was make these patsicles, and now they have some that you can buy already, like the Frida, that I don't even know how you cool them. I guess you put them in the freezer as well. But I just made my own, and I just went out and bought like these Always pads, and then actually I'll link down the video below where I show you how to make patsicles if you're interested. But these I used for the first 2-3 days, and oh my goodness, it felt so good. It just numbed everything, along with the spray, the perineal spray, and of course the warm water from the peri bottle, and then the patsicles. And all I did was just put the patsicle on top of the Depends, and then just slipped it up, and oh my goodness, it just numbed everything. The cold just felt so good. And again, I just did that for the first 2 days or so, 2-3 days, and then I just continued with the Depends and the perineal spray and the peri bottle. Also, whenever I started to notice that my flow was kind of going down, which took me about 2.5 weeks, I got rid of the Depends and I just started to use my grandma underwear, and I just continued using the Always. So I did get one pack of Always, and then I made 12 patsicles for now. If I need more, I'll just make more, but the remainder of the Always, I do keep them in my little postpartum basket in my bathroom, and then I use just the Always Maxi once I switch over to a regular underwear and my flow has kind of gone down. Okay, the next thing is the red raspberry leaf tea, and I buy this in bulk off of Amazon as well. I buy the cut and sifted, so you do need to have a tea infuser, which is fine. I actually used this for my first pregnancy as well, and I'm also using this right now. I'm sure that if you're watching this, you've probably heard of red raspberry leaf tea to help you with preparing your cervix, or actually preparing your uterus. It's more like a uterine tonic for when you're going into labor. It helps you to have stronger contractions, not necessarily painful, just stronger. It tones your uterus. And let's just say, as a first-time mom, when I gave birth the first time, I was 4 centimeters at 38 weeks and 6 days. And I went into labor the following day, and then I gave birth 39 and 1. And I went from being 4 centimeters, my water broke, and my first, I got to 10 at around 4 a.m. So I total from when my water broke to when I was complete was like maybe 5 hours, and it just went by so quickly. I really do feel like the red raspberry leaf tea helped. But anyway, going off on a tangent, the reason that I'm mentioning this in my postpartum essentials kit here is because this also helps with your postpartum bleeding. It helps also for you not to hemorrhage. It's not going to prevent it completely. You're going to still have some bleeding, but It helps for you to not overbleed postpartum. So I continue using this even after giving birth. When I get home, I'll still make the teas and I'll have a couple cups a day. And this not only helps with your postpartum bleeding to kind of slow down, because it's continuing to tone and to contract your uterus, which is getting all the blood out, but it also helps with breastfeeding. So if you are breastfeeding, this is the holy grail right here. So I'm definitely ordering another bag. I'm about halfway, and it's very, very inexpensive. You just gotta make sure that it's the organic red raspberry leaf tea, that it doesn't have anything else in it. So I'll also link this down below if you're interested. But I definitely am using this after giving birth to help heal my body and for breastfeeding as well. Kind of along the same lines of the red raspberry leaf tea, I'm also adding this to my essentials, which is my, these are my prenatals. I'm going to continue taking these after I give birth as well, mostly because of breastfeeding, but also because I need to stay mentally sane, and my vitamins definitely do that for me. Same thing with DHA because of breastfeeding, but also for the omega-3, just to kind of help myself with, I really like to avoid having postpartum depression this time. The one thing that I'm doing different this time is with my first pregnancy, I did stop taking the vitamins. I still took them, but I have to admit it was like every other day and then every third day, and then I just completely forgot. And then I had a very rough time breastfeeding, and I had a very rough postpartum period mentally. Of course, it was my first child, so I was just a little overwhelmed. And this time around, I'm going to continue using my prenatals, taking my prenatals and DHA, so that I can hopefully prevent. I know that we can't always prevent 100% postpartum depression, but prevent it as much as possible. So that is definitely it. A few things that I do want to mention that I don't have here are like are the robes, like nightgown with robe set. I don't have it with me because it's already in my hospital bag, but that is one thing that I also lived in the first couple days, not necessarily the same one, but having some sort of like nightgown or comfortable pajamas, something where you can just slip down and it's comfortable with your Depends or whatever you're using, underwear with pad, but something that is not putting a lot of pressure on your belly. You know, you're trying to heal and shrink your uterus, so anything that is comfortable for you. Also drinking loads and loads of water. I know that that's one thing that you also want to do for breastfeeding, but the same thing for postpartum to get all of that bleeding out. And so definitely drinking a lot of water. But that is all I have for you today. This is going to be all of my postpartum essentials for my kit. I'm going to be having, I actually have this little basket here that I'm going to put in my bathroom on top of the toilet. I'll just have it there so it's easy access. But if you have anything else, any other suggestions that you did not see in this video that you have for your postpartum essentials, I'd really love to know, especially since I have a couple weeks left. Hopefully whenever this baby decides to come, I'd really like to add them if I don't already have them. I also want to say that it's very important for you to just slow down in this time. I know it's going to be very difficult for me because I have a toddler, and even if you have, you know, multiple kids, I know that it's very difficult, but it's so important to give yourself grace and not expect for your body to bounce back right away. A lot of us are going to be healing differently at a different pace. So if you have someone that says, you know, oh, within 2-3 days I was feeling just fine, and you still feel like you're dying on the bed, that is just fine. We all heal differently, and just give yourself grace. Just try to take it very slow and let your body heal on its own. I wish you the best of luck for your labor and delivery. I wish you the best of luck for your postpartum healing time. And I pray that it all goes the way that you are planning. I know that we can't plan it because God laughs when we plan, but I just pray that everything goes well for you. And if you are interested in wanting to make padsicles, I'll have that video linked down below, along with the links to a few of the things that I mentioned here. And that is it. I really appreciate you watching, and I will see you in my next pregnancy video. Bye.
Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on tight.